Let me follow up on a phrase you just word, weaponization ambitions. Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I see that question being asked in the media. That's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is
everything
the
they need
key
to build a
point
weapon.
in U.S. intelligence assessments. You know that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political decision had not been made.
I know that better than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But I'm asking you whether the order was given.
That's CBS host and woman who can't control her facial expressions, Margaret Brennan, getting steamrolled by Secretary of State Marco Rubio after trying to run cover for Iran's nuclear program. That irrelevant line, that's the sound of a Democrat narrative detonating on live TV. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like CBS thought they could run the usual interference for Iran, but Marco Rubio came armed with facts and didn't back down. Because when the media tries to spin no nuclear threat while Iran's enriching uranium and hiding material in mountains, somebody's gotta speak up. You know, Brennan really thought she had him cornered. I mean, she pulled out all the talking points, and Rubio dismantled them one by one. Here's Rubio on Face the Nation blowing up the narrative with receipts.
It doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons. Because it can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build an ICBM.
No, but
so
that's a question.
That's a question.
That's a question of intent. And you know, in the intelligence assessment, that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold state and use this leverage. I'm talking about the public March assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from March.
But that's also an
inaccurate
inaccurate representation of it. That's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program. So why would you enrich uranium at 60%?
Right.
If you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon? Right. Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these things? They have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms, they have the enrichment capability, they have the highly enriched uranium that is stored.
Yes.
That's all we need to see.
Right. Well, and
especially in the hands of a regime that's already involved in terrorism and proxies and all kinds of things around. They are the source of all instability in the Middle East.
No one's disputing that. I'm not doing that here. And they were censured at the IAEA for that enrichment and for violating their non-proliferation agreements. I was simply asking if we had intelligence that there was an order to weaponize, because you said weaponization ambitions.
Well, we have intelligence that they have everything they need to build a nuclear weapon, and that's more than enough.
Okay.
You know, this is what happens when a media mouthpiece tries to challenge someone who actually understands the issue. Brennan's out here clutching her pearls over whether Iran's supreme leader ordered a nuke, while Rubio's explaining the obvious: 60% enriched uranium, hidden facilities, undeclared materials, and a space program that has nothing to do with space. I mean, do they think Iran is planning a moon base? Heck, the IAEA literally said Iran is not in compliance. They've got enough enriched uranium to make a weapon in weeks. And let's not forget who's responsible for stopping that: Trump. His strikes ended that threat in one night. The media can spin all they want, but Rubio brought the facts and Brennan was left flailing. Here's Rubio again, hammering it home and drawing a clear contrast between Trump's strength and the weakness of Biden and Obama.
Do you know why we have bases in Bahrain and Qatar and UAE and all these places? All of those bases are there because those countries are afraid that Iran will attack them. If Iran was not a threat to the region, if the Iranian regime, because I'm talking about the Iranian people, the regime was not a threat to the region, we wouldn't have to have any of these bases. Those bases are there because those countries are petrified that that the Iranian Shia clerics that run that country will attack their countries.
Will the United States defend them if they are?
As you know, they've got a very difficult history. Well, that's why we're there. That's why we're there.
So,
but
yes, we will defend them.
Is what they're threatening to do. So we'll defend our people, obviously. We'll defend our people. Well, they'll attack our bases. And those are our bases, and we're going to defend our personnel, and we're prepared to do that. But we'll do more than just defend. We'll impose costs on Iran if they attack American personnel, whether they do it directly or whether they do it through some of these proxies that they try to hide behind. And that includes the Houthis. Yeah. So another proxy of theirs. So, but let's hope they don't choose that route. Let's all hope that they actually decide, okay, let's go negotiate, because we want a diplomatic and peaceful solution. We have achieved our objectives. We're ready to negotiate this in a peaceful peaceful, diplomatic way. We've been prepared to do that for days. They are the ones that played games, as they have done for 40 years, as they have done to multiple presidents. They tried to play games with President Trump, and they see what happens. This is not a game-playing president. When he says he's going to do something, he will do it.
This is where it all comes together. Rubio's hammering the point, and you can feel the panic from Brennan and the rest of establishment media. I mean, CNN's already whining that Trump didn't brief top Democrats before the strikes. Like that's some kind of scandal. Maybe if they didn't leak everything to their media buddies, they get the memo. Trump briefed Republicans because he knows how to run a tight operation. And the result? No warnings, no delays, just a clean strike that crippled Iran's nuclear sites. Liberals like Brennan are out here terrified of Iran's response, but not terrified of them getting nukes in the first place. Anderson Cooper and the other hacks on CNN are moaning that the Iranian people will now face the regime's wrath like wounded dogs. But the fact of the matter is, nobody wants another forever war. But Trump's not about occupation. He ends threats before they start. That's leadership, and it might benefit everyone to let the dust settle on this before jumping to doomsday scenarios. But let me know what you think. How do you feel about President Trump's response to Iran? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.